Welcome back to Two C's with a pod. It's a quad pod today, Matt. We got
Yes.
we got a four boxer going here.
Yeah, just careful how you describe it. So far, okay. But keep going.
Well, I have a lot of quad one wins that I want to talk about here today. So it's a tournament show, and anytime there's a tournament show, that means that the one and only the man himself at Living the Dream, Dave Pilcher, is going to make an appearance. David, welcome back to the show.
Hey, I am happy to be back. The once a year invite, man, doesn't get much better than that.
Well, I mean, we do invite you for football ones too.
I will say that I try to listen to you guys a lot, but just over the last month plus, I just haven't. And you can probably put two and two together. But hey, it's good to be back. I can't wait to listen to this episode and see what you guys are up to.
See, I see what you did there. See, what the shade he's throwing at us is that we don't record. That's where he's going with that. Oh, I haven't listened to you guys much over the last month. Well, that's because we don't record. Yeah. So when we don't record, it's hard to listen to. Yeah. So anyway,
it has nothing to do with football, I'm sure.
Yeah. Got a great friend of the show. Slightly less crazy, slightly less famous than our great friend of the show, Crazy Ray. Got Joe Ulberg here with us. Joe, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for the invite. I'm excited to join the pod today.
Man, we're happy to have you here. How's Raymond? Is he upset that you're on and he's not?
I don't believe he's aware. I think he's actually vacationing down in Branson right now. So,
oh my gosh, the ladies of Branson are in for a treat this week, aren't they?
Look out! Look out!
Well, so a few weeks ago, Dave had himself a nice birthday party, as he always does, towards the end of February. And Dave, Joe, and I got to talking about who is the best movie coach ever. So with March upon us, we figured there's only really one way to solve this, and that's just have a tournament about it. So what we've done here,
good old fashioned bracket.
I mean, you just tournament style it, and I mean, it's the fairest way. Random seedings, that type of stuff. I don't think you can really make a number one overall seed, but I'm pretty sure that I have it if we did. So why don't I just reveal the brackets right here? So our first quadrant is called the Ballers. Okay. And that's going to consist of Norman Dale, Gene Hackman and Hoosiers, Ken Carter, Coach Carter, Sam himself, Samuel L. Jackson, Pete Bell of Blue Chips fame, Bobby Finstock from Teen Wolf, Chubbs Peterson from Happy Gilmore, Romeo Posar from Ten Cup, Cheech Marin, Harry Hodge, Days of Thunder, and Phil Weston from Kicking and Screaming, Will Ferrell, my guy there. The next bracket that we have is the Fighters. So we've got some combat sports here. Frankie Dunn, Clint Eastwood, and $1 Million Baby. Dwayne Taylor, Green Mile himself, his last movie in The Challenger. Patches O'Houlihan from Dodgeball fame. Mr. Miyagi, we all know and love him. That's the man from Karate Kid. And then we've got a sub quad. We've got the Rocky Balboa family.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Mickey versus Duke. And then we got Apollo versus Rocky.
Wow.
As far as now these are not, when Apollo and Rocky are squaring off, we're not talking about who's the best in the ring. We're talking about who's the best trainer, who's the best coach.
It's a key distinction. The tournament committee really went all out on that one. You can see it's one of those they put KU and MU together type deals. They're like, yeah, that's a fun one there. Rocky, love that.
So the bottom half of our bracket. So there's the top half. The bottom half is going to consist of, let's see, we've got leaders, and that is going to be Coach Eric Taylor coming in as a 1 seed from Friday Night Lights. My guy, Coach Eric Taylor, taking on our female representative, Molly McGrath from Wildcats, Sam Winters of the program, and Straight Arrow Gennaro from Necessary Roughness. Tony D'Amato, Any Given Sunday, be taking on Coach Klein from the Waterboy. Harry Winkler, our guy, big Chiefs fan. Hayden Fox from Coach. And Herman Boone, remember the Titans? My wife's favorite, her number one seed. And then we've got our lovables, right? We got the drunks down here. All right, we got our dudes that are they're fantastic. And most of these guys are baseball guys. So we did try to just kind of get it into baseball, football, basketball, and tried to make the brackets like that. So. Jimmy Dugan of A League of Their Own, classic drunk. George Knox, Angels in the Outfield. Gordon Bombay, Mighty Ducks, gets himself a DUI, and all of a sudden he's got to go teach some young kids how to play hockey. That seems like fair and reasonable punishment. Irv Blitzer, I don't know how Irv was as far as a drunk. I don't remember that, but I'm sure we'll get an update there. The greatest drunk of them all, Morris Buttermaker. Bad News Bears. Joe Riggins from Bull Durham, Pop Fisher from The Natural, and Lou Brown from Major League round out our 32 coaches. Gentlemen, any major omissions that you would like to discuss? Because anytime there's a tournament, there's always somebody that gets left out. You guys got anything on that before we move on?
I will say, just 2 comments. One, I like how this was discussion at the birthday party, and now I know why I have a lot of no-call, no-shows at the birthday party. When it's that wild that the conversations are around Major League coaches, no wonder I can't get Matt to come.
Oh, jeez. That sounds amazing. Like, you need to, if I'd have known, that's actually exactly how I would have been there. I mean, darn it. Yeah. No, that's funny. That's funny.
Matt only shows up for the ones where we don't have shirts on. He only shows up for the summer parties.
Smart.
He's not showing up. He's not showing up when we're fully clothed.
Yeah.
If you talk about brackets without a shirt on, I mean, that may be really the best party I can think of. So if we can really set that up, that's what's up.
Yeah, we'll get that going. What else you got, Dave? Any major omissions?
No. What a great field. I mean,
it's a strong field.
Yeah, I think the play-in tournament to even get into this was challenging. Yeah. I mean, we talked about this for 2 hours. I think our all our wives were just like, man, what a blast! I can't wait till next year.
It's the greatest party ever.
It was.
All right. Well, shall we kick off the festivities?
Let's do it.
All right. I believe that I am up with the Ballers. So my first matchup, Coach Norman Dale of Hoosiers versus Coach Ken Carter from Coach Carter. Look, I love Samuel L. Jackson as much as the next guy. But I mean, when you get into a tournament like this and you're talking about who is the greatest movie coaches that's ever been out there, you don't get real far down the list without Norman Dale coming up. So Coach Carter, super motivational guy. I took some quotes here. And actually I want to use a quote from Coach Carter to motivate you guys for this podcast. And I think we all remember when he said, "Gentlemen, you told me you deserve to be here. Well, you're not playing like it." So appreciate Coach Carter for coming, but we're moving Coach Norman Dale on to the next round. Wow. My next matchup was Pete Bell versus Bobby Finstock. And, I mean, again, Bobby Finstock, I mean, when you talk about greatest coaches, through the ups and downs of his season, Coach Finstock was always there to help his players. And by help his players, I mean, not really. Like when you think of, some hands-off coaches, I just want to leave you with some Coach Finstock wisdom. Yeah. There's a scene where he's talking to Michael J. Fox, Scotty, and he says, "Look, Scotty, I know what you're going through. A couple years back, kid came to me much the same way you're coming to me now, saying the same thing you're saying. He wanted to drop off the team. His mother was a widow, all crippled up. She was scrubbing floors. She had this pin in her hip. So he wanted to drop basketball and get a job. Now, these were poor people. These were hungry people with real problems. Understand what I'm saying? What happened to the kid? I don't know. He quit. He was the third stringer. I didn't need him. Like that. That's some wisdom. One other wisdom that he shared with his guys is that there's 3 rules that I live by. Never get less than 12 hours sleep. Never play cards with a guy who has the same first name as a city, and never get involved with a woman with a tattoo of a dagger on her body. Now you stick to that, and everything else is cream cheese. I mean, with wisdom like that, it is hard to see this guy not winning. But I mean, we're talking about Pete Bell. This is a guy that was able to recruit Penny and Shaq. So, and he did it all above board. So we'll talk about Pete next round, but Pete gets to move on. My next matchup is Chubbs Peterson.
Just real quick, that guy coached a werewolf. Like, I mean, just the off-field stuff to kind of keep that team together, and just his philosophy of get the guy the ball and get out of his way. Right? I mean,
he did. He became a much better coach when the Teen Wolf was on the court.
Yeah.
well,
Which that's tough to, I mean, those kind of personalities, those type of players are tough to coach sometimes. People you saw the jealousy, happening from the other guys. They're wanting the ball, and so, yeah, that was a tough one for me.
So, yeah. So you guys would have,
that kid that's the center who finally made that basket. I mean, come on,
dude.
The fat guy, the fat guy.
Yeah. The fat center. But no, just to be able to coach these kids and say, hey, look, you're not touching the ball tonight. All right.
No.
You play defense, you rebound, you pass, and keep them engaged like he did. Hey,
You're a big Bobby Finstock guy. I like it.
I am too. I think Phil Jackson utilized that offense whenever he designed the offense around Kobe, kind of like the 5-out offense.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Bobby Finstock, you're a champion in our eyes. All right, so my next matchup was Chubbs Peterson of Happy Gilmore and Romeo Posar of 10 Cup. Now, I love Romeo. I mean, 10 Cup from a golf movie, it's fantastic. I mean, it's got some amazing, memorable scenes. Any of us hacks that have gone out and played golf that just keep hitting balls into the water, I mean, who amongst us hasn't snapped our finger and been like, give me a ball, give me a ball, give me a ball, right? And then, of course you get this one wet, we get DQ'd, we get disqualified. I mean, it's Cheech Marin. He's got some great rules to live by. Look, boss, I've only got one rule, and that's never bet money that you don't have on a dog race with an ex-girlfriend who happens to be a stripper. I think there's not a lot that we all agree on, but I think that we can all agree that is some fantastic wisdom. Unfortunately, Chubbs Peterson is my guy. I mean, when you talk about Chubbs Peterson, I mean, he's teaching a hockey player how to play golf. And there's 2 things that he knows. 1, how to teach golf, and 2, fighting alligators.
Yeah.
All right. He didn't even have to he wasn't out there refining Happy's game. He had to completely teach him the game. Okay. So, Roy McAvoy was already a good golfer. Happy Gilmore didn't know the first thing about golfing. Chubbs taught him how to do that, and Happy was winning all of those big checks. I'm moving Chubbs Peterson along.
Yeah.
And then my last matchup was Harry Hoge of Days of Thunder and Phil Weston from Kicking and Screaming. Now, look, I love me some Will Ferrell. It's a guilty pleasure. I'm not gonna lie about it, but man, I gotta move Harry along on this one. That movie Kicking and Screaming, the only thing that was really kind of amusing about it was just the banter back and forth between Ditka and Will Ferrell, where he calls Ditka Juice Box Boy. That's about the only thing I can remember of it. I can remember a lot of stuff that Harry did, a lot of stuff that Harry said out of that movie. I mean, when he's talking to the cars, just kind of, now Cole's not going to be able to control you. He's changed, and all that. I mean, that's just some powerful stuff. Brought chills to my arms, man. I'm going with Harry.
I want to throw the challenge flag on that. I mean, he had the tiger jumpsuit to really embrace his kids. It was about him and his father's relationship. It's about him and his son's relationship. It was about getting those Italian kids the ball in a position for them to score. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I think we've all kind of been there with youth coaching, and I respect what he did, and he took home the championship. And so, hey, everybody's got their own opinion, but
yeah, and sometimes they're wrong, right? Is that what you're saying? You don't love my. Let me see if I can find myself a good. We'll send Phil out with.
What does a car racing coach do, though, Andy? This also becomes something that I gotta ask. The level of commitment it takes to coach a youth soccer team, is incredible. It's complex. It's tough. You're dealing with relationships. You're dealing with all kinds of things. Harry just said, "Turn left, bro, and hit the pedal."
No. I mean, Cole was broken. I mean, after that wreck. Okay, and first of all, Matt, I'm just going to call you out right now. Anything that has to do with a Tom Cruise movie, you're not moving it forward. Okay. All right. Tom Cruise could be the greatest coach in any movie, and you would not move him forward. So your argument against anything Tom Cruise related really it invalidates it due to your personal vendetta against that man. But listen, dude, Cole was broken, okay, and Harry was the one that talked to the car and made the car perform the way that Cole needed it to perform, so that Cole could have the confidence back to go win the race. And the girl.
He's not backing down from his bracket. It just circling back to that, I haven't listened to the pod in a while. Last time I listened, I think you guys had an open invite for Tom Cruise. Did that ever happen? Did he join? And that's where this comes from? No? Oh.
No. I mean, it's still the invite to Tom is still out there. I don't have a problem with Tom Cruise. I like most of his movies. I get that Matt has a hard time separating the reports from the movies and stuff like that. I enjoy the movies. But yeah, there's an open invite. Matt wants to fight Tom Cruise. So I don't know.
I mean, let's be careful here. Okay, now you know if you don't hear from me for a while, you'll know exactly what happened to me. Contact Tom Cruise's people.
Yeah. Well, let's you know what? I'm gonna jump off of my brackets now. I'm gonna turn it over to Joe to talk about the fighters. I mean, this is a bracket that I'm very intrigued by, especially with the bottom half of this bracket. Like when Joe had to really dissect and analyze the Rocky trainers, man, that's where I'm interested in this. So Joe, take it away.
Yeah, and just to back up a little bit regarding Tom Cruise, I think once award season's over, with the Oscars getting ready to, I think they televise soon, I think he'll have some availability to join the pod at that point.
That's fair. Yeah, he's a little busy. We're busy too. I mean,
we'll get our people with his people.
Yeah, we can talk to him, but I mean, it's an open invitation. It's like, I've watched professional wrestling. Anytime there's an open invitation, somebody always takes it. All right,
absolutely.
Who you got? Frankie Dunn, $1 Million Baby. I'm going to be honest, I've not seen the Challenger.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Challenger either. I'm a huge Michael Clark Duncan fan, and to go against Clint Eastwood was challenging. He's one of the legends, one of my favorites of all time. But I'm moving Dwayne Taylor to the next round, to the Sweet 16.
Also, somebody that Matt hates too is Clint Eastwood.
Easy. Let's keep.
You do.
And it's the fighters bracket, but we don't have to fight.
Okay. Fine.
The next game was easy for me. We have Patches O'Houlihan from Dodgeball and the legendary Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid. And Mr. Miyagi took him out, within 30 seconds. It was a pretty quick fight right there.
So Patches was not dodging Mr. Miyagi's crane kicks or anything like that. He was unable, I guess probably because he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, Mr. Miyagi, he doesn't discriminate. Even though he was in a wheelchair, he went after him. But I do have a question. Have we ever discussed how Mr. Miyagi acquired his wealth? I'm a little bit curious as to what you guys think. Was he a real estate mogul, or how did he achieve?
I think that he found some gold that was buried as part of World War II, and he just happened upon that, and that's how he got his money.
It's the bonsai business. Those bonsai trees in Southern California in the 80s and 90s, expensive. And I believe he was the maintenance guy at an apartment building. Am I right with that?
That's true. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, he had that maintenance money. He probably, there's probably some things left behind. Maybe he pawned. I don't know. I mean,
I like that theory too. I mean, I think that there was probably like, what was it in Ozark where they were hiding all the money in behind the wood paneling? He probably happened upon a wood paneling.
Well, we find out in Karate Kid 2 that he has family money, right? The brother, this is his brother that ends up being kind of his arch rival, right? So brother has money, right? Isn't it? And, and so I think, I just think Miyagi had the money but lived a humble lifestyle. Does that make sense? He was that guy that, you just would never expect that had $1 billion in the bank, but that's how he could fly really creepily. I'm just curious if anyone else would just turn their child over to a random person now to fly them all over the country to karate classes when you've met them, and really only after they've done menial job and labor around their house for about a month. I mean, it's a really weird pretext now that I really think about actually the Karate Kid, but in some ways you can't doubt Miyagi's skill and talent as a coach. He took an Italian kid and turned him into the greatest karate champion in history.
He's all Valley for sure.
He's at least all Valley.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of questions when you think about Miyagi, and I guess one is he still alive?
No,
I don't believe he is.
Okay, because I was thinking if he is, I'm surprised he's not on the Netflix.
Well, there's a reason why. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's not alive because everybody that was ever associated with that show has come back.
Yes.
My
what do you got
hypothesis was that he owned the apartment complex. He was a real estate mogul, and then he was doing maintenance. He was kind of like Robert Kiyosaki, the Millionaire Next Door author before Robert Kiyosaki.
Interesting. And I believe he was typecast after that series. Didn't have much other work after the Karate Kid series ended.
Remind me. Hell, I'll say it on air. What do I care?
No one's listening.
So, fun little Karate Kid fact. The mom, Daniel's mom, in the movies, her real life daughter is neighbors with friend of the show, Christy Millsap Williams. Next door neighbor.
Wow.
Yeah. I was found that out with from Christy's other neighbor that runs our college football and college basketball pool.
Wow.
So
small world.
A lot of stuff going on over in that cul-de-sac.
Amazing.
You tell.
So, Joe, tell us about Mickey versus Duke.
All right. So, again, Mickey's an absolute legend. My take on Duke was, he's kind of a hanger-on, kind of reminds me of somebody who may be part of Mayweather's TMT crew. So I have Mickey. He's an absolute legend. As Matt had mentioned, he took a kid from the streets of Philadelphia and elevated him where, to this day, Rocky Balboa is one of Philadelphia's proudest sons.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've got statues to the guy.
Absolutely.
You know, and like really Mickey's unorthodox training methods are, you know, I mean, he got a nobody ready to fight the greatest ever. You know, Duke was a phenomenal trainer, but, you know, quite frankly, I mean, Apollo underperformed in both of those fights.
He was the favorite.
A heavy favorite.
Yep.
Heavy favorite. So, you know, you could argue, was Apollo past his prime and, you know, really on the downhill, or, you know, did he just get completely outworked by Mickey? And I think that there's an argument for both, but I think Mickey outworked him. Dave, you got anything on Mickey versus Duke?
We had a lot of action going on over here at this household. Little distracted. No, I think you guys covered it. I think,
man, that's the analysis that you're here for. So let's talk about who I think is one of the most underrated coaches, because it's kind of like he was a legendary performer in his field, but Rocky Balboa versus Apollo Creed. Joe, who do you have there?
This was tough. Apollo's one of the premier entertainers of the 80s. He was a self-promoter. He knew how to sell fights. If he was selling pay-per-views back in the day, I'm sure he would be probably top 5 of all time. But I've got to go with Mickey's protege, Rocky, and advance him to the next round.
I think Rocky's just really underrated, man. Like, you know, I've watched the Creed movies preparing for Creed 3. I mean, his training, he incorporates a lot of what Mickey does. You know, I think you would move Apollo forward if it was really like awkward beach hugs with another guy that beat you in a foot race. If that were the criteria to move forward, I think that's where you're going.
Dude, those are underrated. The choreography involved for those type of hugs, really, you know, it's underrated, you know, what you got to do there. Because sometimes you never know who's going kind of above, who's going below, you know, like, and if you meet in the middle, it's really super awkward. So I think I get what you're saying, but that is a little underrated on that.
Well, we've got a nice group there that make the top half of the Sweet 16. Got just to recap: Norman Dale, Pete Bell, Chubbs Peterson, Harry Hodge, Dwayne Taylor, Mr. Miyagi, Mickey Goldmill, Rocky Balboa. Any of those surprises to you guys?
No, I think we covered a couple of these guys.
Yeah.
You know, there were some discrepancies there with the blue chips coach moving on, and unbelievable that Phil Weston didn't get the nod. Still a little shook about that.
Still,
you know, that's
still sitting there.
Well, let's bracket breaker for me. You know, that's the one that you're like, I had them going far. And my bracket has got a lot of lines through it right now.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Let's move on. I think we've got who do we got here? Leaders. Okay, this is the football. We got Coach Eric Taylor, Friday Night Lights, Molly McGrath from Wildcats, Sam Winters from the program, Ed Straight Arrow Gennaro from Necessary Rough. Man, this bracket is loaded. Tony D'Amato, Coach Klein, Hayden Fox, and Herman Boone. Man, I don't know how you go wrong with coming out of this bracket, but man, this is like a murderer's row. It was, man. So Matt, who do you got with my guy Eric Taylor? That would be my 1-1. That would be my number 1 overall seed. Would probably be Eric Taylor. Molly McGrath. Who do you have there?
Well, for me, and I knew this about you. I knew you were a big Friday Night Lights guy. I have to plead ignorance on it. I really never caught the Friday Night Lights bug. I just really didn't. I wasn't big on the movies. I didn't really get caught up in the TV show. But I did do some research, and I realized why. And it took me about a 3-minute clip of Friday Night Lights. And it centered around the opposing coach running on the field and tackling a player. in the middle of a really heated game. And boy, you know, Coach Taylor was really upset, as anybody would be about
Well, they should be.
Well, of course, of course. And come to find out, the opposing coach had some health problems, and this is why he decided to run out on the field and tackle the player. So it all ended up great, as Eric Taylor helped him in life and gave him an inspirational speech and told him, hey, you know, I guess I understand why you have ruined this kid's life and these kids' dreams over what apparently is a personal problem. So I just found it to be a bit much. Now, Molly McGrath, I'm just going to tell you that around this household, there is a certain amount, like people are held up in esteem, okay? And Goldie Hawn, as an actress, and Molly McGrath in particular, as a coach, is one of them. And I will tell you that if I were, my wife is upstairs, and if I were to talk any type of shade on Goldie or Molly here, this would not end well for me. Now, I also know that, so just know this is not an unbiased opinion, but also Molly, and we're going to talk about her further down, but I am moving Molly forward. It's International Women's Month. I think it's important to celebrate women today. So Molly, forward.
Well, I'm okay with this, even though Coach Taylor's my guy, because I'm gonna be honest that Coach McGrath is the only one on this particular bracket that I would be okay with that bathtub scene.
Exactly.
Anyone else, I'm out.
Fair. Like Sam Winters and Ed Gennaro. No one would want to see.
Yeah, I don't want to see Sam Winters and Ed Gennaro tops in a bathtub.
No,
I'm good. So, wow. I mean, you know, David just talked about his bracket being busted. Be honest with you, I had Coach Eric Taylor winning this whole thing. It's really it's never good for your bracket when your winner gets bounced in the first round. Like that is just, that's rough.
Join the club.
Yeah, man. All right. So Sam
Shout
Winters
out to the Wildcats cheerleading squad too. They're strong.
UGLY, you ain't got no alibi. You ugly. I mean, again, and this is the movie itself and just the whole team that Goldie put together, because it is a whole team. It's an organization, right? You know, again, she deserves credit for the entire group that she put together, including the cheerleaders, which are truly. Yeah, the whole exactly. The culture.
You know, and I mean, really, and I don't want to spend too much time on Molly because we're going to have some time here in a little bit, obviously with her
Take
moving
your time
forward.
with Molly. We can spend as much time with Molly as we need to.
The fact of the matter is, before her arrival, they couldn't sell any of that peanut brittle. Once Coach McGrath got there, they sold all the peanut brittle. They could get new uniforms. Like, wow.
Sales skyrocketed.
It did. I mean, she can do it all. Sells the peanut brittle, got the cheerleading squad.
The play calling.
The school spirit, I mean, just went through the roof. And it was incredible.
When her husband walks in the house, I don't know if it was her husband or ex-husband.
Ex-husband.
She had the football team over there. Classic scene.
Well, and that was the turning point of that movie too. Like when that husband came in and saw his one daughter drunk.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he tried to get that full custody. That caused Coach McGrath to be like, look, can't lose my kids. I quit. And then the team hated her.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
and he came back around and he saw that they needed her. And
they did need her.
Yeah.
They did need her.
This is heartwarming. I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Yeah, it's a story of life.
It really is.
Yeah, we all need a little Molly in life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, Matt, move us along. Sam Winters and Ed Straight Arrow Gennaro.
Sam Winters, Ed Gennaro. Here's my thing. And again, the program I have lots of problems with. There's some bad play calling. There's, you know, I don't think Sam ultimately really was the coach they needed at the time they got him. Where Ed Gennaro, and Ed Straight Arrow Gennaro is truly one of the, and again, it goes back to very similar to Molly, where you're taking a program from nothing, you know, not to use the program, you know, as a word there, but like you're going from nowhere and turning him into something so special. So for me, I'm moving Ed Gennaro forward. Sam, I understand, was, did some good things, but there's also, I don't know that the program is one of those movies that does not age well in my mind.
He had a hell of a kicker on that team, man.
Yes.
Oh,
on Necessary Roughness, exactly.
Yeah.
I was gonna move, but yes, we'll talk about it. But like again, being International Women's Month, he took a chance on a female kicker, and boy, did it pay off for everyone. Yeah. So
was that Kathleen Ireland?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. The gorgeous.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth taking the chance with Miss Ireland.
Yeah, I mean,
strong leg. Strong leg.
If you could get her into your locker room, I mean,
you do it.
It's a huge morale boost.
100. And so it moves us down here to Tony D'Amato and Coach Klein of Waterboy fame. Now, Tony D'Amato, of course, and we will talk further about it. But the 1 inch, right? The 1 inch speech is legendary. 1 inch, that's right. And again, not super sure how well it ages, Tony's tactics and methods. But I think also super accurate. Probably one of the movies that I think really probably showed what the NFL was probably mostly like. Also directed by a man who I don't think directed it super weird. As I was watching the 1 inch, speech, I thought, why is he making some of these, like, it just pops around. You see a lot of Jamie Foxx while Coach Amato is speaking. But again, you have to move Tony D'Amato forward for the 1 inch speech alone, and just also, again, taking some risks that I think now you see in the NFL that actually, on a quarterback that maybe didn't fit the mold, right? That didn't really, wasn't what they thought they were going to be, but he was willing to change, and they saw success.
Do you think that he would give that quarterback a max contract, fully guaranteed, in the range of, like, say, $250 million, hypothetically?
It's an incredible, again, I think that's where it's a joke, but then on the flip side, it probably gives the most clearest picture of what the NFL, is, which, including the very unpretty sides of it. Yeah.
Willie Beeman. I forget how he leaves the ladies, but it's a catchy song.
Steamin' Willie Beeman. Yeah. Again, incredible player. And again, again, brash. You don't necessarily turn the keys over to your franchise unless you're a Tony D'Amato. That's going to take a risk, and again, so I've got to move him forward. Now, this next one.
Oh, just real quick, just one last thing here on this. One of my favorite movies of all time, but so he loses in the playoffs and then has like a press conference, like, I don't know, the next day, and announces that his quarterback has signed with the team that the season didn't even end for that league. So how's he already signing guys? Just small piece. There's no off season there. So
collusion is all I can say. Most likely collusion involved.
I don't think the league year had opened up. Like, maybe they signed him, but like, it was like kind of when people are signing now, they're like, hey, this is effective March 15th, or this is going to be a June 1st cut.
Yeah. It's an Oliver Stone movie, again, and I think for good and for bad, so you get kind of some truth there, but you also get some stretches, Was
that also when Sandstorm came out? An all-time jock jam song.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Come on.
Played
Just
throughout.
Alone.
Played heavily, yes, throughout that one.
Yes.
Let's go down to this next one, because I'm also going to infuriate another member of the Kavanaugh family here. This one, I'm afraid. You want to introduce it, Andy, this matchup?
Go ahead. It's your bracket.
Okay. So we've got Hayden Fox from Coach, and we have Herman Boone from Remember the Titans. Now, Herman Boone, let's talk about Herman Boone in particular here. And I want to talk about just Remember the Titans as a whole. And Remember the Titans is the movie, and Herman Boone's is in some ways a perfect character for the movie. that when you have a substitute teacher and you're not going to learn anything that day, they're going to wheel in a video. They're going to wheel in a video, a VCR, and they're going to put in, or, you know, I know nowadays maybe a DVD, or they're going to pull up Netflix and they're going to play Remember the Titans. And that tells you all you really need to know about the movie Remember the Titans, and how just truly vanilla and truly kind of just grossly syrupy, you know, like just so bad as a way to show kind of a moment in civil rights history. It's the kind of movie to me that kind of glosses, that just makes a very pretty picture and bow around some real issues and real problems that were happening at that time. I find the performances to be just not good. I can't buy Denzel. I can't buy Herman Boone. And so I am sorry to Kara and to the Kavanaugh family overall, but I'm moving Hayden Fox, the man who put Dauber in charge, and also Luther Van Dam. If you think about the coaching staff that Coach Hayden Fox put together, and they won games. Think about what he had to do to, you know, still win games with Dauber and, you know, Luther Van Dam as his coaches. So I got to go Hayden here. Wow. Rebuttals. I know there's many.
You know what? I mean, this bracket's already busted for me anyway. So what's it matter? Because, you know, now it's completely dead. You know, it's always fun to lose your, you know, the guys that you've got going to the end of the bracket. It's always fun to lose those guys right out of the gate.
I'm sorry.
You know, I mean, it's fine. You know, I understand that, you know,
Dave's going to come through here for you.
Well, you know, I just understand that we're just going to move 4 white coaches along, and we're not going to let the African-American coach get through. I mean, it's just kind of, you know, par for the course, but that's fine.
Matt says it's not February. You know, hey, you had your time.
How could you? I do see that now. This is
International Women's Month. We're going to celebrate.
Yeah,
my bracket's busted.
Yeah,
I
love Coach Boone. This last month.
Wow.
I would want my kids to play for Coach Boone.
Hey, you're a Hall of Famer in my book.
Jeez, here we go. I deserve it. Now that I see this, I truly deserve it. And so
he empowered his players. Petey, go get your spot back. You know what I mean? He just empowered people there.
And Petey got his spot back. That's my problem. Like a real movie, Petey would be, you know, selling, you know, again, peanut brittle on the streets because he didn't make it, because that's a real story and not a Disney version of, I mean, it to me, it's a fairy tale of a movie, which again, which is fine.
You saying, wait, are you insinuating that they did not take a run to Gettysburg?
I very much think of they parodied it perfectly in The Office. They actually went to the Gettysburg in The Office, if you remember, in one later part in The Office, and it's equally ridiculous situation. This is not the Civil War is not football, nor is their situation. I can't, and I'm sorry, guys. Let's get to the games, though.
Yeah, let's get to Dave's, because you know
that wasn't on purpose by the way that he got, because I've been seeing a lot of Mexico pictures, and now I'm seeing that Dave got the drunks bracket. I feel like this was targeted.
Dave chose it. He chose it.
I chose this before I knew the title of the bracket.
Okay,
it's fine. It's all good.
But you know, it's not. It has nothing to do with you.
Well, I appreciate that.
This is just your bracket. Yeah. I mean, obviously, do you really think that I would refer to Matt as a leader?
Okay, it makes sense now. All right, I got it.
All right, go ahead, man.
Well, you know, because you have the drunks bracket, you might as well
top it off. There you go.
There you go. Cheers.
Okay, so Andy, are you going to go through these and select? What do you want to do here?
No, you're.
I feel like everybody else got the introductions of the.
So we got Jimmy Dugan of A League of Their Own. We got George Knox, Angels in the Outfield. Mm-hmm. Gordon Bombay from the Mighty Ducks. Irv Blitzer, Cool Runnings. Morris Buttermaker, Bad News Bears. Joe Riggins of Bull Durham. Pop Fisher of The Natural, and the guy that I'm hoping comes out of this. I'm just going to put it out there. My
Okay.
guy Lou Brown from the
Let's see
Major
what we can
League.
do.
Love me some Lou Brown. But no, man, this is your bracket. I don't want to steal your thunder. I don't want to influence anything, but yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I
Hope
will
Lou
say,
Brown
look,
makes it far.
you guys, just articulated your messages so well, and just the homework that you guys did. I mean, I'm really proud of that. The homework I did, not as much, right? So I don't have the quotes and the details that you guys did, but I'm choosing from the heart here, right? And I look at the first two here. You got League of Your Own and Angels in the Outfield. I'm a big Angels in the Outfield guy. I really liked how he, managed with the supernatural. He took this team and made something of it. Overcame a lot. But it is National Women's Month, and there's no crying on this bracket, Andy. There's no crying in baseball. We're moving a League of Your Own on to the second round here.
Yes.
I love me some Jimmy Dugan. Like
Jimmy.
I mean,
it's my favorite baseball movie. I mean, I really it's really tough to beat that as a baseball movie for me personally. And Jimmy is a huge part of that. All the performances are phenomenal. That to me, okay, so that's the opposite of Remember the Titans. That's a movie that has kind of a message, okay, but really does it in just a lovely way that isn't kind of doesn't make you feel gross to me, doesn't make you want to I've tasted something way too sweet in my mouth that I want to just it's just perfectly done, and there's so many controversies, right? I know that wasn't well. But so
the family show.
Did she drop the ball on purpose? I mean, there's so many pieces of that movie that I think live on forever, and to me, it's one of those movies you can watch a million times.
I wanted to continue Matt's theme here of making sure that I picked the white guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to guess stay in character here, right? I'm a guest. So all right. Moving on here, we got Gordon Bombay. Irv Blitzer, okay. I'm a big Cool Runnings guy, right? Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. John Candy, one of my favorite actors. Gordon Bombay, look, I was late to the game with Mighty Ducks and that whole genre there. I probably watched it 10 years after it came out. I just look what Irv did, where he created not a sport, but he created something for a country that didn't have any representatives of that sport. And he went over some challenges. It wasn't easy for him, but he overcame. The guy stuck with them. I'm moving Irv on to the second round here. Big Cool Running guy.
I mean, that's a hell of a job by Irv. I mean, he did all that in 2 weeks. Yeah. Qualified a team for the Olympics in 2 weeks. I mean, that is just unprecedented. Don't tell me that anything's impossible because he got the Jamaicans 2 weeks bobsled team.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And they tried to set him up and try to ruin his sled. But you know what? This guy just kept battling, right? And just kept believing. And he believed so much he made his team believe in when he didn't believe, right? That's the definition of just empowerment that he did. All right. Leadership. Moving on here, we got Bad News Bears, Bull Durham. I'm kind of the same thing there, Bull Durham. That movie came out, I think, I don't know, the early 90s, late 80s, something like that. I probably didn't watch it until 5 years ago, right? I grew up with Bad News Bears, right? Chico's bail bonds. I mean, these were the guys, right? The guy with the motorcycle, Kelly. I don't know what his last name is, but he was fantastic, right? Those two little twins, So we're moving on. Morris Buttermaker. We're going to move him on to the second round here. Last but not least.
Also, well, real quick on Buttermaker is, again, revolutionary. Had the girl pitcher. It wasn't cool.
And also a coaching children, right? Like we said, that's kind of our concern with not moving, kicking and screaming, forward, is that like there's a level of coaching, and he took the bad kids, like he took the Bebe kids, these weren't this wasn't, your traveling team, all-stars, this was the kids in the in-school suspension that he turned into, stars. So yeah, he deserves credit.
You look at the improvement from game 1 to the last game, unmatched, right? And I'm a sucker for, the kids' sports. And I also respected the fact the guy had a sixer in the dugout, right? I mean, yeah.
Let players smoke.
They don't
who cares? Just let them play, man. Let them be themselves.
They don't let you do that anymore. Found out the hard way last year.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say,
maybe they should.
I haven't seen a six-pack in the dugout since I coached with Andy that year, and that's real life. Yeah. So it wasn't Andy, but anyway, it was we saw that.
It was a friend of ours, though.
Yeah, but hey, the guts of that guy, right? Hey, you just had to loosen up a little bit before he coached, right?
I know we're running a little long on time, man, but you got to tell that story real quick. Just leave the names out of it. These guys got to hear this story about the umpires.
So, holding down third base coach in between innings. The umpires, call me behind home plate, and they're like, "Hey, I think you need to tell your head coach to leave because he smells like he's been drinking." And I had to go back in the dugout and talk to the coach. So anyway, you know what?
Eject your coach, your own head coach.
We've all I think we got the dub that day, and that's all that really matters. Nobody knows who, when. I think that's just kind of a inside story there. That's now an outside story, but we've coached a lot, so those who were probably with us are probably not listening. So let's hope.
Yeah, and Morris, they're just taking Morris's inspiration. I mean, in some ways, right? Like, I mean, again, he saw the good, results that Morris, Coach Buttermaker was able to get through those practice, and it's a relatability, right? It's a relatability piece.
Really
you couldn't relate. You didn't think he was better than the players or anybody else. He was just being himself.
Yeah. What a great role model, right?
And what I think we can relate also, because I don't remember a lot of parental involvement at that in that movie. Yeah, and we see that a lot where you may be coaching a team and parents just drop their kids off at practice, and you don't see them, and it's 2 hours of free babysitting. So that really hits home.
Morris Buttermaker, you are aces in our book.
Okay. All right. Let's see if he advances. All right. Moving on to the last one here. We got the natural. We got Major League. For me, this is what a 2-7 matchup. I mean, this is just a blowout city, man. Lou Brown, the White Walls, who the hell are these guys? I mean, Lou Brown is moving on to the whatever we got here, the elite or the Final Four for me.
I mean, the thing about Lou Brown that you really have to respect is who else would get a peel away sticker of the owner to determine the number of wins for the magic number, and when you get to 1, it's the boobies. I mean, who else is doing that? I mean, that,
and also just probably the perfect coach voice, right? Or like just talks like this to everybody, and that's how he speaks. I just love that. Like, again, that's you've got a good coach when he's got that type of voice.
Enough of that Olay bullshit. He took that contract out and just pissed on it. I mean, golly, this guy, dude. Golly.
You might run like Mays, but you hit like shit. I mean, who amongst us hasn't wanted to say that to that superstar player that we've had that, pulls out their contract or, they're showboating out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we've gotten through. All right, we'll move along into, so we got Sweet 16 here. Back to me, Norman Dale, Pete Bell. I'm going to go through these a little faster because, we have touched on these guys. Look, I mean, if you take Eric Taylor off the board, which somehow did. And then if you take Herman Boone off the board, which somehow
Mm.
did, there is no way, there's nobody else that other than Norman Dale that really is the person that you got to go with. You know, hey, appreciate Pete Bell finally, you know, coming out, and basically his best coaching job was admitting that he cheated and that wasn't okay. But man, Norman Dale, like, who hasn't wanted to get a ladder out, get a tape measure, and ask their kids, you know, how high's the rim? How far is the free throw line? Same as it is in our gym back in Hickory, right? Like, I mean,
Right.
it's legendary. Norman Dale moves on.
The diversity on his team that he had to overcome to really blend all those guys together from different backgrounds. Not just joking.
Well,
yeah, I was.
We're kind of going with this. Has Matt kind of picked the winners here? With, are we sticking with just Matt and the, you know, what month is this again?
well, you know, in
Sorry. It's all good.
I deserve it. I deserve it. Let's talk about Chubbs Peterson,
Look,
then. Let's.
I'm moving Chubbs Peterson along.
Woo! Okay.
I love Chubbs.
Yeah.
I love me some Chubbs Peterson. I mean, the fact that again, Carl Weathers got snubbed up there in the Rocky bracket.
Great point.
You
Exactly.
know, it's Carl Weathers gets himself on this bracket twice.
Well, you know, Carl truly, like, if he wants to be remembered for anything, it would be Chubbs over Apollo. You know, 100. I would think.
Yeah,
I would assume.
Yeah, I'm
For me,
moving
I think
Chubbs
Chubbs.
Peterson along. You know, again, inspirational story. Didn't have those fingers. Him and that damn alligator. So yeah, Chubbs moving along. Take it away, Joe. You got on Dwayne versus Mr. Miyagi.
All right, so I'm sticking with Mr. Miyagi. He just provided so many life lessons to Daniel.
Well,
And
not
he was
only
just-
not only to Daniel, to all of us. Like, who
Right.
amongst us hasn't been washing your car and you go wax on, wax off? Like, everybody does that.
Timeless. He also had like supernatural. We forget that he just rubbed his hands like this. Daniel has a horrible injury. He can't go. We needed him for Mahomes. You know, apparently that's maybe who was back there. But he's just rubbing his hands. He touches, you know, Daniel's, you know, leg, and like, man, he's ready to perform. Like, we forget that moment as well.
Yeah, he's a man of many talents. I mean, physical therapist, a maintenance man, a karate teacher,
Exactly.
a car dealer, the bonsai trees. I mean, the guy can do everything.
Amazing.
Teacher versus student. Mickey versus Rocky.
So I'm going with Mick. Mickey was just a huge inspiration. Kind of reminds me of Customato to Mike Tyson. So I think without Mick, there's no Rocky. So I'm moving Mickey along.
I like your thought on that. No, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and Rocky, for as great of a coach as Rocky is, and like I said, we've been watching the Creed movies, and I told Kara, I said, you know, Rocky Balboa may be the most likable character in any series. Like, just he's just a, you know, just
Rocky's
a sweetheart
not
of a guy.
He's not a big X's and O's coach. He's more of just your mental, just your, you know,
Heart.
big picture coach, life coach. Not really, because Rocky's style, it's just get your ass whooped for 8 rounds and then catch fire, right? Wear the other guy out. So his techniques and his just X's and O's, I don't know where they're, but I mean, Rocky in life, dude, even though his son doesn't talk to him, which is weird, you know, he's such a great life coach, still, I mean, the things that he's done for Adonis and other things, man, just really
Well,
underrated.
you know, he did make amends with Jack Pearson at the end of Creed 2. So that, you know, he's back on good terms with his son.
Okay, well, all right, that's good.
So yeah,
Amazing.
you know, the only downfall that I have about Mickey is, you know, it just doesn't have, like, he's old. He played a hell of a penguin. Like, I mean, he was an amazing penguin, but, you know, I mean, he just, you get into an altercation backstage, the dude's going to have a heart attack and die. I mean,
Yeah.
And then you got to go out and fight after your trainers like having a heart attack and dying. Like that's tough, man.
It wasn't
But
it?
also motivational. But did he
Yeah,
do it
but-
on? I mean, was that like his last gift to Rock? You know, was the last like, hey man, I know you'll fight with everything you got, but you'll take a really extra beating for this entire time.
Yeah,
And
Rocky
still,
got
you'll come
destroyed.
in.
I mean, Clubber Lang just destroyed him. I mean, not only did he like, you know,
I
say
love
that he
this
was
description of Rocky's style is amazing, Dave. Of just clearly. I mean, I'm assuming that's his coaching style as well, right? Just go out there, buddy, take as many haymakers as you can. Think about your wife, holler her name maybe, and then it's just amazing. You just end up winning. It's wild.
Yep.
No, I
But
love
no,
the legacy Mickey created. And I also appreciate how Rocky Balboa was a professional athlete at a very high level, and he was never involved in any unscrupulous scandals or affairs that, you know, he got busted for.
True.
You don't see that very often anymore.
you don't. And
You look at just Mickey's coaching tree, though. I mean, pretty solid, right? I mean, just a solid tree that guy has. And I feel like he's always been old, right? I mean, I don't know if he was ever young. He's like one of those guys that was just always old, just an old soul.
when he was 30, he looked 60. When he was 80, he looked 60.
It's like instead of Benjamin Button, he's just like he was born old and stayed old. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
So speaking of good looking, talk to me about Ed Straight Arrow Gennaro.
Yeah. Yes.
And the person opposite Ed in his bracket.
Yes, and Molly McGrath. Again, Molly is truly a coaching legend in my mind. I mean, you got to think about without Molly. I mean, think about the careers in sports movies that Wesley Snipes has had, that Woody Harrelson has had, including Together. Just the athletes that she coached in that games or in that movie is enough just to we talk about trees. You know, I got to move Molly, even though I adore Ed Straight Arrow Gennaro, truly one of my favorite, movies when it comes to football movies. But yeah, it's Molly for me.
You know, the thing that I really liked about Ed Gennaro was the gym workout. When he called that play where it was, I thought you were going to do one of these. I thought you were going to do one of these.
Yeah, he sucks at two sports. Again, fantastic in every way. And this next one was tough for me because, again, I have a lot of respect for Coach D'Amato. I think you shared that the 1-inch speech. There's no doubt that's got to be in the top speeches, motivational speeches ever. But again, I love Coach Fox. Think about it. Have you heard of Minnesota State since? Right, Coach Fox was there. No, I haven't heard from them, and so it just again goes to show you that he could win anywhere. In a place that really didn't exist, but and again, also with guys that, again, the coaching staff alone we talked about Andy had to fight off that pesky boyfriend of his daughter's as well, that real hippie guy, that just real annoying. So yeah, I got to go Hayden Fox here and I'll move on.
Well, I guess sorry, I think I had the wrong one. I had Tony on there, but we'll fix that.
It's okay.
We'll get Hayden on the a fix there. So Hayden moves on. Dave, who do you got?
All right. I'm feeling the rhythm. I'm feeling the rhyme. Get on up. It's bobsled time. We're going to Irv to the next round. Just like I said, I mean, it's a story of redemption. It's a story of belief. Irv, just a hell of a coach. He's moving on. I feel like he can coach any sport. And he's going to get the belief in there. And so we're going Irv on that one. And I know what month it is, but I just can't overcome what Irv did, not just for a team, but for a country. Right.
Fair.
I mean, he had a whole country sitting in the little shack watching this bobsled race. Okay.
And I think they still I think they really do bobsled. And I don't know that they really did bobsledding before that. Did they really? And I think that they actually kind of spurred a real thing because that movie was so popular in some ways. Like they actually bobsled. Again, I don't know how successfully But again, I think it really became a actual real thing from a fictional thing, which is pretty wild.
Well, I think that Virginia actually integrated their schools based on the popularity of a certain movie, but neither here nor there.
And the North won the Civil War also because of Herman Boone, is what I've heard as well. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank God they did. Thank God they did.
Yes.
This would be a much different podcast if they didn't.
Exactly.
This last one here, tough one, man. This was up nights, waking up in a sweat, thinking about who's going to take this. My poor wife Bree. That I would just be asking her and asking. She, like, who are these guys? I don't even know. I've never seen either of these movies, but we talked about it so much, and this was a tough one for me. I love the Bad News Bears. Grew up with them. It's part of my childhood. But Louis Brown, man, and those white walls on line one, and taking that ragtag bunch of guys to. Joe Boo was in the locker room. You had Willie Mays Hayes. You had the old veteran pitcher with the Bardol and the Vaseline on him. I mean, he led all the way to what it looked like was like a American League championship, right? They beat the Yankees. They were so good. They had to change their name to the Guardians because of Lou Brown, because they couldn't replicate what he brought to the table. So you're talking about a real live team that's like, we can't live up to Lou's standards. We're changing to the Guardians. Exactly. And there's no other reason why they do that.
No.
All right. So now the control for the next rounds goes from the person that owned the bracket to the other three.
Perfect.
All right. So in my bracket, where we've got to get down to the final four, who do you guys like between Norman Dale and Chubbs Peterson? Matt, who's your vote?
I have to go first. All right, I'm going Chubbs. I just
Well, just because we have been.
I feel like I have to go Chubbs in some ways now. But no, I just think one-handed. Think about, again, as a golf coach and literally, and let's also think about that one hand. I mean, this wasn't like the technology that we see now, for folks that have that problem. Like this was
they were very wooden,
like a wooden thing. So I go Chubbs. Yeah, sorry.
Joe, who you got in this one?
I'm going Norman Dale.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, with the facilities they had, nowadays, would you be able to recruit players? Would players want to come to a school like that? I mean, that looks like elementary school here in the metro area.
Yeah, I mean and again, I mean, this is Indiana here. There are no classes in their high school basketball tournament, so you don't get a play. No, Indianapolis schools are playing these super tiny towns. I mean, that's a small town. Hickory is a super small town.
Yeah.
And they're going to go play Indianapolis Central. I mean, come on. Dave, where are you going here?
Woo! I guess this is the tiebreaker, huh?
Yes, sir. You're the.
Anytime you have a talent like a Jimmy Chitwood on your team, and you can bring him together with the other guys, you got a guy shooting underhanded from the free throw line. You're beating Indy Central. I mean, those athletes. Yeah, I'm going Hoosiers.
Coach Dale.
Coach Dale on that one.
Well, the other thing too, I guess on Coach Dale here is, yeah, I mean, he had I know that all the players kind of looked the same, but you remember he had to get that one kid that would pray before the games. He had to get that kid to stop praying to come play. I mean, that's to break away a man's time with God.
That's
for game time. That's commitment. All right, Joe gets to sit out this one. Miyagi versus Mickey. I'll start. I am going. Oh man, this is a tough one. Should have made one of you guys start. Man, I gotta go Miyagi. Like the legacy that Miyagi has created. With Daniel-san and his friendship with Johnny, and rekindling with get chosen back into it. Yeah, I'm Miyagi here. There's just too many life lessons.
Yeah. I'll jump in. I'm also Miyagi here, so I guess I should have let Dave go maybe if he was going Mickey here. But like, yeah, I'm fully. We watched some version of Karate Kid. Now, not the series, but the movies. We watched some version of that pretty much on the regular. So I'm going Mr. Miyagi here as well.
And Miyagi for the sweep for me. I think Miyagi, when we talk about coaching trees, I mean, we're 30 years later. Miyagi-Do is still going, right?
Yeah.
And next generation Miyagi-Dos they're still winning the All Valley, right? They're still the positive influence in that community. Big karate community in Southern California. They're huge, right? Kids are still in that.
Yeah.
Simply because of the tradition of Miyagi-Do and what they brought to the table over there. So Mr. Miyagi all day.
All right, Matt, your time to sit out. I'm going to let Dave start. Dave, who you go? Molly and Hayden. Molly McGrath from Wildcats, Hayden Fox from Coach. I got to be honest with you, this was not the bracket that I saw.
No. This is look, after doing my research on these teams, I was like, hey, we're never going to see this matchup. Don't even do the work, right? This isn't going to happen. This is like a 12 playing a 13. It's never going to happen. There's no scouting report on these guys. You got
a 7 and the 7 and the 8 out of the bracket. Like,
yeah, when I look at this and I think about what Coach Fox did up there in Minnesota State, right? Probably one of the worst offensive and defensive coordinators that are out there.
Correct.
He brought it together, right? And it wasn't just when I look at Coach Molly, she had a 1-year run, right? She probably went on to bigger and better things. I look at the dynasty that Coach Fox built season after season. I think there's probably like 5 or 6 seasons that he was there. And that's true. I have not heard of Minnesota State since. No. I don't, maybe there was some allegations, maybe they got the death penalty, or maybe they're just not good. But what I do know is that when Coach Fox was there, they were something, right? They're on TV all the time. At least once a week, I saw them on TV. So I'm going Coach Fox in the upset.
Joe, who you like in this one?
I'm going.
It's really
Molly.
Not an upset because that was a 7 beating the 8.
I'm going with Molly. The way that she brought that team together with the diversity, when you were referring to Wesley Snipes and Woody and the Hispanic character who would run his head into the locker.
The race. Remember the race? She outraced them all. Remember?
Right. Whoa! You're supposed to be quiet during this part. You're stealing my thunder here.
I'm sorry.
It was dripping wet, and she just had the resilience. She wouldn't stop, and she was just a true leader. So, and plus, the sacrifice that she had with her own personal life and how she kind of adopted those boys as her family. I got to go with Molly.
Yeah, I'm Team Molly here too. Again, for reasons that we have discussed, the peanut brittle, the broken stopwatch, outrunning the entire team, and of course the bathtub scene that as a young man I was very, very intrigued by. So and I'll be honest, even probably today I would still be intrigued by that.
You haven't seen anything. You've seen that Coach Luther bathroom scene where he was in the bathtub. Now that's living.
Harry Van Dyke.
That's real.
Yeah. All right. So we're moving. Molly gets to move into the Final Four. We are down to Irv Blitzer and Lou Brown. Joe, you get to start us off on this one.
Oh, man. I'm not really sure here. I will go with Lou Brown. And I really don't have a whole lot to elaborate other than what we've already discussed, but Lou's my guy.
Matt, who you got here?
Yeah, not to ruin the suspense, but I am also Lou Brown. Yes, I would follow Lou Brown into any battle. Lou is somebody again that I think anybody can get behind, and again I think has the best one. All the lines we've mentioned are some of the best one-liners in any movie. And that voice, just like he's literally smoked about 14 cartons of cigarettes a day. So again, I just think you got to go Lou here.
Clean sweep for me. I'm Coach Lou Brown here.
On the heater.
I mean, the fact that his coaching style was so simplistic that he fixed his closer by giving him some glasses.
Exactly.
Like,
I mean, he had great, right? He had an answer for everything.
It's just simple. All right, so the way this will work, the next round is Joe and I will sit out up here with Coach Dale versus Mr. Miyagi. If Dave and Matt are in lockstep, we'll move whoever they say along, and then vice versa down on the bottom. And then if Joe and I have to step in, we'll see if we can break the tie. So, Dave and Matt, who do you got on Norman Dale, Hoosiers legendary coach? Took the Hickory, I forget what I don't know what their mascot name was, but took them to the finals. Mr. Miyagi took one student to the All Valley, went up against the legendary Cobra Kai with his one student and won. Matt, why don't you start us off on this one? Coach Dale or Mr. Miyagi, where are you going?
Again, I've got Miyagi here. I'm gonna go to also just I'm a big Karate Kid 2 guy, and for me, the drum thing, the Gloria Love, the Peter Cetera song. I mean, like Miyagi, just really Elizabeth Shue. I don't think without Miyagi, Daniel doesn't get Elizabeth Shue. I mean, we know that's for sure. And
she's not leaving Johnny for.
Exactly. And so we get the treat of seeing Elizabeth Shue in several movies in her prime time years. So I am Mr. Miyagi fully here.
Dave, we got a clean sweep, or do we need discussion here?
Well, let me just, let me go full circle here on this, man. And I look at, coming from the drunk section of this bracket, I reference back to when Miyagi was drunk and Daniel took care of him, right? The epitome of a coach is to empower your students to help you in your time of need. That's right. Miyagi, though, with the sweep of the leg, he's knocking out Coach Dale. Game, set, match.
Man, wow.
Mr.
Miyagi moving on. So that means, Joe, you and I are discussing, man, this Final Four is, like I said, this tournament is it's absolutely stacked. And I think any 4 of these would be worthy champions. But I got to be honest, I think that Joe and I caught the tougher of the assignments down here. Really just because like Molly McGrath being in the Final Four is such a surprise. I don't think that I'll be honest, when this bracket came out, like it was like, oh, cool, Molly's on here, great, yay, and then it's like one and done, But I mean, here she is, she's in the Final Four. Now I got to put her up against, one of my favorite guys, Lou Brown. I've lost my, top 2, now my top 3. But Lou Brown's my number 4. So if you're going to get rid of Coach Taylor, you can get rid of Coach Boone, you can get rid of Coach Dale. Lou Brown's my guy, for all the reasons we've talked about, but mainly, when he was asked, how would you like to coach the Indians this year? And his epic response of, let me get back to you, Charlie. I got another guy on the line about some white walls. I mean, I could sell white walls. I could coach the Indians. I don't really care.
Hell of a negotiation tactic.
It really
you don't care, right?
It really is.
Come on.
I'm moving Coach Brown on. Joe, where are you at on this?
And this is tough. I mean, knowing what we know about Charlie Sheen now and seeing how he handled the personality of his closer and all the other players within that team, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Lou Brown. But man, to get behind Molly I mean, that's somebody who I could definitely get behind and support 100%. But I'm going to have to go with Lou and move him forward to the finals.
There it is. So our finals are Mr. Miyagi versus Lou Brown. It comes down to this. So that means that it's me and you, Matt. Me and you could potentially settle this.
Oh, right, because ours are out, and so
Our guys have been eliminated. Appreciate
before you guys decide this, and I'm glad that Molly got eliminated, because there's only one TV football coach that I follow, and that's Kevin James in Hometown. The story, redemption story about the great coach Sean Payton. And so I am glad we're down to baseball and karate, because we all know Hometown is one of the best football movies and one of the best coaches that you're going to see. So that's say my piece, and I'm looking forward to seeing who wins this championship.
Well, let's bring that up. We did have some snubs. I mean, there's some people that didn't make it in. My dude from Varsity Blues, worthy of being in this tournament. Herb Brooks, worthy of being in this tournament. The reason why Kevin James didn't get entered into this for his amazing portrayal of Sean Payton, an amazing head coach that has done wonderful things in the past, is they're playing real people, so it's hard to put those people in. I think you could make an argument for Bud Kilmer being snubbed in Varsity Blues, but there's only so many spots on here, and
right.
as we've seen, he probably would have gotten either Molly McGrath or Hayden Fox's spot, and we see the success. So I think as a committee we should be proud of the work that we've done here. This field that we produced.
I would like to request maybe reaching out to Molly's people and maybe having her as a guest in the future, or her daughter Kate would be welcome as well. Either
talking.
one.
And I really think that
Tom Cruise.
One last, I think we snubbed Maverick as well. Great flight coach. In the recent movie where he went from a student to a coach, and he took these guys, man, and they did some missions. They did some stuff, man.
And then he became a player coach. I mean, that's really kind of next level. I think if he would have been included in here,
Russell
probably would have won.
Maverick. I mean, he's right up there in the.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Then you have to include Viper and Tom Skerritt when they were, the actual good movie, not
Tom Skerritt. Tom Skerritt was an amazing coach, and we probably should have included him. We just didn't have a aviation category.
Fair.
Next year.
Next time. That's right.
Matt, you want to start?
Okay. So we have Mr. Miyagi. Lou Brown. Again,
Lou Brown.
I think you have two, surprisingly, and I think Dave really pointed it out, that I think you would immediately kind of hear those names and go, oh, these are opposite, in some ways. These are guys who really came at it in different ways, and I don't think that's really the case. I think both Miyagi and Lou they had heart. They cared about the people that they were coaching for. They were real. Again, they were themselves. For me though, again, I live in a household here where there are two very, very sacred things in our culture and our watching here in this household. And Karate Kid and Goldie Hawn are really the two staples that we watch those at least a couple times a week. And so if it's not going to be Goldie and Molly, then I have to go Mr. Miyagi here, because just, again, I'd like to not be kicked out later tonight.
Well, it wouldn't be a two C's with a pod if you and I were to agree.
Right. Exactly.
I am. We're gonna have to pull Joe and Dave into this discussion to settle this because I'm on Team Lou Brown here. No disrespect to Mr. Miyagi whatsoever. I'm a fan, and he knows I'm a fan. But Lou Brown is Lou's my guy with as I mentioned in the last round, he's my fourth because you people eliminated my first three. So I'm going Lou. Dave, what are you team Miyagi or team Lou Brown?
Woo! Two great leaders in their own right. Two guys that gonna get you to the goals that you want, but they're gonna take a couple different routes, man. Well, both of them are kind of tough love guys, right? They're both gonna kind of tough love you. Lou Brown is a little bit more rough around the edges, where Miyagi's is polished. Man, this is tough. Leadership, coaching, I have to lean towards Miyagi. And I look at Lou Brown and I look at Major League 3. Don't ever watch it, but if you have, I think the Coach Taylor, the old catcher, took him to that same promised land of just the American League Championship. I don't think that Lou ever brought home a World Series. They lost in 5 in the World Series and 1. So I look at it where Miyagi stayed getting trophies every year. Miyagi ended on top, and that's for those reasons. There, I like closers, right? Closers get coffee, and I like to drink a coffee. That was a Starbucks prop, okay? I knew this moment was going to happen. All right, Miyagi for the win, for me.
Yes.
Joe, what do you got?
Andy, in sales, the ABCs are always be closing, and I'm Team Miyagi. His focus, how he presented the importance of focus and balance is life lessons that are important for all of us. And he served his country, which I have a tremendous respect for him serving his country and the discipline of karate and just him mentoring this kid from New Jersey, who is being bullied, and just really helped shape him, be a father figure to Daniel. So I got to go Miyagi for the dub.
And just one last thing here, before Coach Lou Brown, or manager Lou Brown, was with the Indians, he was a terrible coach, right? He didn't have a whole lot of wins, couldn't even get in the wild card, right? And he had to, he's kind of kicked out of the league, blackballed a little bit. He's got a little checkered past.
Selling tires, man. He was selling tires.
Yeah,
he was. But why was he?
Because
why wasn't he in the league?
With you. He wasn't successful.
Yeah, but Miyagi, congratulations.
Yeah,
wow.
Lou Brown, though, Casey Printers years ago said, man, how do you expect me to make chicken salad out of chicken shit? And Lou Brown did it.
Well, guys, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I don't think we could go wrong with that Final Four. There's a compelling argument to be made for every single one of these guys. Mr. Miyagi, just because I prefer Lou Brown, that's great. If we had this to do all over again, Dave, as we're wrapping up here in our last few minutes, coming into this, man, who'd you have as your champion?
That's a really good question there. Because I'm looking back to this list. So hometown wasn't on there. So it wasn't. So Kevin James, we're saying, okay. All right. So without Kevin James. Okay.
Nope, Sean Payton.
No, there's some great candidates here. I thought with how we started this whole thing on my birthday party, which was just absolutely crazy that we talked an hour and a half about TV coaches. I would have gone kicking and screaming. Will Ferrell. That was the leader in my clubhouse.
Wow.
If I had that region of this tourney, then he's coming out for me.
Well, and as somebody that had that region, I purposely assigned these regions so that I wouldn't influence too much, because I made the brackets. So, for me, I don't think this is any surprise to anybody. It's Coach Eric Taylor for me. If that's where if he was my 1-1, you know, the number 1 overall seed. And, you know, hey, you know, sometimes that stuff just happens where, you know, you have a bad day and you get clipped. Joe, who was your champ coming into this? Who'd you have?
My champ coming into this was Coach Boone. So that was a huge upset.
Man,
he was bounced in the first round.
You and me both, dude. You and me both. Like, I would have been totally fine if, you know, it would have been Coach Boone versus Coach Taylor, and Coach Boone, you know, I would have been fine with him moving on. That wouldn't have bothered me in the least. But so yeah, you had Coach Boone. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, dealing with the adversity of parents and an entire town when the deck's kind of stacked against you, I had a tremendous amount of respect for him. But you know, I want to thank you for putting you and the committee for putting this bracket together. This is a solid bracket.
Yeah,
but lot of help. Appreciate you guys coming in, lending your expertise and your reasons for it. Matt, who did you have as your winner here?
The more that the more research I did, the more I leaned to Molly McGrath. I know that my wife is not hearing this. She's not sending right here, and she is not influencing this, and me saying this in any way. No, but seriously.
Why is he blinking like that, guys? Is there a reason?
Right, what's the sign for help? There's like a sign you get. But no, like I do think she is just again, we've talked all the reasons why, and the more I kind of dug into it, I just like it just held up for me, you know, in some ways, her performance and just her as a coach. And so yeah, I was a Molly through and through, which I'm just thrilled she made it this far. And you know, maybe next year we can see, you know.
Well, I think the one thing that we can all agree on is that the Wildcats song is probably the best song of any sports movie.
Okay, great example. Like, if you don't love the Sport of Kings, and let's look at what do we know from and again, this is a great song, but I got so sick of hearing "Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low." Like, I could not hear that song anymore when that came out. So that's, for me, is another great example of why I got to go Molly and the incredible Sport of Kings, better than Diamond Rings.
It really is better than Diamond Rings. I think, again, we're all in agreement on that.
And so are our guests. We appreciate you fellas for coming.
I appreciate you guys jumping on and, lending your expertise, lending your perspective. Next year, we will get Sean Payton and Kevin James into this field. We'll do it on like real coaches, portrayals of real coaches. So I'm sure there'll be a Matthew McConaughey in there for Marshall, and we'll get Herb Brooks. Get a little Miracle. Yeah, it'll be fun. But
Will Smith with the Williams sisters.
Oh yeah, King Richard.
King Richard.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you were going Kevin James again with that movie where he helped him date better, be a better dater. What was that movie?
Hitch.
Will Smith, I thought you meant
Will Smith gets two. He gets two.
He was a coach.
He gets Hitch
for
being a dating coach.
Yes, I like that.
And he gets King Richard.
Yeah, we could have a whole bracket of Will Smith characters.
Awesome.
Well, doing that, then can we have, like, when Will Smith played Muhammad Ali, can we have the guy that played his corner man?
Right.
You know, I'm sure we could get Jamie Foxx in there too, because he does all that stuff. Yeah. So, all right, fellas. Hey, appreciate the time again. We ran a little bit longer, but I think we did great work here.
Agreed.
All right, boys.
Good work. Have a good time in Florida, AC.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Enjoy.
All right. See you guys later.
All right. Take care.
Bye.